So, the other day we talked about the story of the billionaire who gave somewhere between $10 and $40 million to the graduating class of 2019 from Morehouse College to relieve them of their college debt. And Fox and Friends, sort of their brains melted a little bit in contemplating this.
It's a bit of a curveball.
It was a bit of a curveball because they had already crapped on the idea of forgiving college debt when suggested by Elizabeth Warren. They also sort of like this idea of like, well, it's good for billionaires to do this, but we don't want to go too far to the point where they're compelled to do it. But we can see the huge benefits it's going to have for these people. And then they were so off kilter that they, because they want to praise a billionaire, right? And I think they also, because this guy is black, they feel like they definitely need to praise him because they praise billionaires generally so much. So there's a certain self-consciousness, and they, in their attempt to sort of argue that white schools are somehow better for some unknown reason, they told the story of this black billionaire who was bused as a child to a white school. And it was all of the benefits that accrued to him there that he, in many respects, attributes his success to. So they were very confused about that. But here is Fox still super, super unbalanced about this. They don't know how to praise this and at the same time avoid endorsing this on a mass scale.
Smith's generous gift to pay off the student loan debt for nearly 400 graduates may be worth a whopping $40 million. But it raises a bigger question. Is the student loan debt crisis so bad that we need to rely on people like Smith? Jesse, what do you say?
I just like watching the guy's face in the corner when he heard he got his debt cleared. That was pretty good. I think it summed it up. It's funny to hear people like politicians that have driven this country into $22 trillion in debt lecture everybody else about now they have to solve the problem of debt. Usually the government creates the problem and then they have to come in and solve it. Also, the
Pause
press...
it for 1 second. That's complete incoherent gibberish. I don't know what he's even like trying to argue there. There's nobody in government who are saying that billionaires need to just give money directly. There are some who say we should tax billionaires, which is the way that government does things. Government does things by essentially expending money. But go ahead.
Of debt. Usually the government creates the problem and then they have to come in and solve it. Also, the press, all these journalists, they're up to their ears in credit card debt. And they've been saying it's not a crisis at the border, but we have a student loan crisis. Please, why don't we just get a bunch of billionaires, like Bezos, Bill Gates,
Warren Buffett.
Maybe they can pony up a few billion to clear the student loan debt. Or how about these universities? They have tons of endowment money.
Pause it. We should just tell you that the student debt crisis, and I think maybe this makes hurts Jesse's case that it's not a crisis. He thinks they can pony up a few billion. We need actually, what is a trillion? 1,000 billion. And it's actually 1.5 trillion. So we need 1,500 billion, which is not ponying up a few billion. Maybe that's what makes it a crisis.
A few billion to clear the student loan debt. Or how about these universities? They have tons of endowment money. They can do the same thing. Top 10% in your class graduates, they can get their student debt cleared. Or all these great companies. Amazon, great company. Jeff Bezos, he could pony up a few dollars to help the students.
But why should he have to, though? That's the whole thing. Should he have to?
Well, it's for a tax write-off.
So we want to go to Michigan. We're out of state, and it's a goal of a lifetime to go to Michigan. It's $72,000. My parents really can't afford it, so I take out a loan as a parent, and then the kid takes out a loan, and they have a great time, and they look around, and they get their first job's $50,000, and next thing you know, their payment's $500 and $550 a month, and that's after you've already paid your taxes. So if you make $50,000, you're probably taking home $32,000, and then you're paying that that much. It's hard to pay for rent, utilities, phone. So maybe it's an impossible equation. There's got to be some pushback so we don't need the billionaire commencement speakers.
I mean, I feel like Brian Kilmeade, it's another one of those situations where yesterday he was praising busing, and now he seems to be working his way to like, we need to do something like on a policy level so that we're not like hoping for the largesse.
My theory is
of billionaires. We need to do something concerted because this is really a crisis for people.
Niece or
Oh
nephew.
my God!
Niece or nephew.
Right. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely.
He's got a family member who's going through this.
There's some young person in his family, somebody's just graduated from college, and all of a sudden he's like, the numbers just don't work.
Yeah, Kilmeade does not have the ability to throw off a hypothetical like that. That has to be basically, I've changed the names to protect my niece. I mean, the innocent.
Yeah.
And
Say there's somebody by the name of Lisa. God damn it. Brenda
Kilmeade. I'm not Kilmeade. Kensington.
Brenda Kensington. Brenda.
Well,
It could also be Catherine Donegan.
Yeah, could be anybody.
Could be Melissa Strange. Look, it doesn't matter.
I think we've hit on one of the contradictions in right-wing populism here, right? Because populism is about hating elites and blaming elites, and the way that right pops define elites is often extremely nebulous and based more on culture and values than like who's actually got the money and the power, you know? But like sometimes you blame elites too much and you start bumping up against some redistributive solutions and you're like, wait, no, never mind.
Right, exactly. Let's cut to a commercial.
What's going on with Fox, by the way? What's going on there?
Well, no, but you can tell that Kilmeade is sincere because whereas like what Tucker would have done a whole segment where he maybe even really put together the student debt crisis really
did.
well, and then he would have just been like, and they're smoking pot.
Well, no, I think it would have been like the immigrants, right?
What he
and
does.
of course,
They go to school to
it's
get
impossible.
skills, and then Saatchi hires Somalis for their PR jobs.
Right. It's impossible for college students to get those jobs that we all had when we were in school. By we, I mean not me. And that we had when we were in college to pay their way through college, but now they have to take loans because of immigrants.
Jesse Waters still seems to be under the impression that when he says, take Jeff Bezos' money, the left is upset about that.
Right. It's weird. Well, Jesse Waters, of course, he's trying to talk to Trump. So he's not, there's nothing coherent in what he's saying. He just knows, which is why Bezos came up twice in that rant of his. He got lost, I guess, presumably what he was talking about. But so that's going on at Fox. Now, like I say, Donald Trump is listening. He is very, very concerned about what's going on at Fox. In fact, so much so that during his speech last night in Pennsylvania, he's been to Pennsylvania something like 40 times because apparently he's a little bit nervous that his numbers are not good in Pennsylvania right now. But here he is talking about how, I mean, it's just weird. This is sort of like, it just feels like it's like a bar room, and he's just sort of like occasionally piping up, and occasionally people are paying attention to what he's saying. It's just sort of, it's weird. But here it is where Trump is bemoaning what's going on with Fox, with Pete Buttigieg is showing up there, and people are talking about
the meltdown he had about Sanders a couple weeks. Sanders did so well, he was just like, "Where?
Why did you ask me to do
I'm
a town
supposed
hall?
to. You're supposed to be my network, not give time to the
I
other
want
guy.
to do a town hall now."
You saw that. Last night I watched Alfred E. Newman. What's going on with Fox, by the way? What's going on there? They're putting more Democrats on than you have Republicans. It's something strange is going on at Fox, folks. Something very strange. Did you see this guy last night? I did want to watch. You always have to watch the competition, if you call it that. And he was knocking the hell out of Fox, and Fox has put him in. Somebody's going to have to explain the whole Fox deal to me. Democrats.
Something strange going on at Fox.
I was so odd. I love, when we talk about, I think when we first played this, Matt said it was some like fascist disciplining, reminding like the networks like, hey, that's not your job. And what's so great is that Trump is such a baby with such a horrific emotional state that it doesn't even require the like, hey, maybe you should send a little bit of a shot across the bow at Fox, because he's doing it during executive time. He's sitting there getting himself worked up into a lather.
I think he is genuinely worried. I think that it's partly just disciplining, but I think it's not. I think it's born out of fear.
On his level, it's all emotional.
Right.
He's got a lot of fear.
It's always fear and insecurity. Now
Alfred E. Newman's awesome line though.
The fact that he is afraid that what has operated as essentially a rear guard and in many respects as the front.
A propaganda arm, perhaps?
Well, I would say a full-bodied propaganda. Like, it's almost like propaganda arm implies that it's sort of like fulfilling one role, but half of his administration came from there, right? Like it's and
policy shop.
I think he's afraid that there is like there's sepsis in the blood system, that there is some type of infection.
I'm going to wake up and kill me. It's going to be wearing a dashiki.
Yeah.
Obama's going to replace Tucker.
What's going to go on there? I'm going to go on and I'm going to get some type of question. Was it Chris Wallace going on? I don't like what's going on there.
Used to just be Shep Smith.
Like Trump's worst nightmare is Obama on Outnumbered.
Yeah, it's just
exactly.
like, I think what you ladies might be missing.
Or if one of them, yeah.
Joining us on Outnumbered today, we have Barack Obama.
For the week.
Kennedy, that works in theory. Or maybe if you're doing a top 10 countdown, not in the real world.
Oh, my God.
Obama smugly advocating for Brookings
Can we get Tom
Institution
Steyer?
ideas.
Can we get Tom Steyer to basically just
you should just buy an equity stake in Fox.
$30 million just to put Obama there.
Oh, that would be a good use of money.
Dude, Tom Steyer could almost literally would be a better use of money than, hey, well, you know what? Tom Steyer, once again, is proving yet another version of the lesson that just because you're wealthy does not mean you're politically sophisticated.
Well,
that is
also,
the only use of what he's doing.
But I will also say this. It also is, it reinforces what I've said about the center left in terms of the way they spend money. Like, there's no way the Koch brothers, if they were looking for impeachment, would be like, hi, I'm David Koch. Right. You should be doing, it is a function of people of the left, and I mean centered to the left, that when they expend their money, there has to be some element of like creativity involved in it, like
or personal narcissism.
Well, but that's
not necessarily creative. It's just narcissism.
No, but creative in the sense of like literally, I created.
Oh, I'm doing something. Like it's my project. I'm Tom
it's
Steyer.
My project.
I'm creatively involved.
Yes.
Whereas
exactly.
the Koch brothers would have been like, well, they got Kennedy on Fox. What about that Bill Bellamy fella?
Like,
you think that we can convince him to become a goddamn libertarian?
How far away from us can we expend this money, but have it do what we want it to do?
He popularized
Warren
on
G.
The left, maybe we can convince them to cut school lunches.
The money is micromanaged down to the point where, like, I'm the best person to give this talk. Not any of the millions of people I could get to deliver this message. Tom Steyer, me, I am the best person to do this, as opposed to, like, I don't know, hire the guy from the West Wing. I'm going to get Alan Alda to deliver this, or whoever it is. It's just that mentality on the left. But I digress.
Alfred E. Newman.